Again, Congresswoman Loretta Sanchez.
Good morning. It's always a pleasure to be in the home of labor. Labor has a long tradition of moving and holding the line on issues that are important for the working class. Because think of this, if it wasn't for organized labor, how would we push against what we see going on in our nation? And let me just tell you a few things. It used to be, when I was growing up, that there were people who made a lot of money. There's nothing wrong with making a lot of money. All of us want to make a lot of money, right? Yeah. There was a good middle class, and we were trying to figure out how we were going to bring people who weren't making a decent living up into the middle class. That's what we were striving to do. Today, the situation is completely different. Today, what we have seen is that almost 20% of the people who were in the middle class are actually under the poverty line. And that middle class is actually going into the lower income class. And a few people made it into the rich class, a few of them. But here's the biggest problem with all of that. Because again, we all want to be successful, however you define that. And some people define it by what you have and how much you earn. But that top group of people is getting all the money now. And the middle class and the lower class are getting a lot less of the money out there. That's what's happened. The people at the top, in just the last 5 years, have 8 times as much money as what they used to have 5 years ago. How many of you can say that about your family? See, and that's where the problem is. The problem is that there's so much money up there and there's so little for the rest of us. That's why we see people losing their homes. That's why we see people losing their jobs. And when we look at it, these people who control this amount of money, and a lot of them do set up businesses, but the problem is they're setting them up outside of the United States. So, I'll give you an example. The other day, United, they merged with Continental. Now, they have a little service when you call in for a reservation. They have a little service center in Detroit. If you can't, when you call in, if you can't get to those, let's say 100 people they have working there, it rolls you forward to Cleveland, where we have more Americans there, probably another 100, answering the reservation calls for all of United. But if you can't get through to there, you end up talking to Raj in India. That's what's going on. You end up talking to Raj in India about your United reservation. I know, because when I call now, I'm always talking to India. So you wonder, how is it that we can give jobs to India, but we can't give jobs to Americans? Because I got news for you. We can speak English, right? We can answer those phone calls. I'd rather be talking to someone in Arizona or California, than to Raj. And gets me really angry. And this is what these people have done. Because they don't want to pay us for what we do. They just don't want to pay us for what we do. But if they would pay us a decent wage with decent benefits, then we would have the money in our pockets to buy more American goods. That's what's going on. So we are trying to switch that around. Now, one of the things that we've really been working on is to help create the jobs here in America. We're pushing companies, we're pushing back. We're saying, if you've got Raj in America, we're going to tax that. If you got Raj out of India instead of America, we're going to tax you. Right now, they don't pay taxes if they don't bring that money into America. That's what's going on. They hire Raj, they make money off of you because you're taking those United flights. They're paying Raj practically nothing, and they're holding the money in United States. When they bring it in, we tax them on it. But if they don't bring it in, they don't pay taxes. That's how you see these big companies paying almost nothing in taxes. Not only are they taking the money out, they're taking the jobs out. And when you're talking to these people, they don't know where Minnesota is, where you're trying to go. You see, that's the sad thing. They don't understand us. So I want to thank you because this local in particular has stood up. In this past 2 or 3 years, we've had some really tough negotiations. Not just for you guys. I remember the trash contracts done recently. But Unite Here, the restaurant workers, for 3 years fought for a contract because they wanted health care benefits. They finally got them. You guys stood by them. I'm proud of you. You know, UFCW, the grocery workers. You remember, some of you, 5 or 6 years ago when we had the big UFCW grocery strike, and it was really tough. People lost their jobs. We were out there picketing all the time. It was a, 18-month strike. This year, because you guys and others in labor stood behind them, they were able to negotiate a contract, and we didn't have to go through a strike. There's another group, the janitors, and you guys have always been supportive of them here in Orange County, who are pushing on negotiation. I know you'll stand behind them, because we want to make sure they don't have to strike in order to ask for what they get. And what they get is they get the possibility that if they pay 25% of their gross salary, that they will have health care. Think about if you had to do that. If you had to pay 25% of your dollars to try to get health care. That's what they're striking over. That's what they're fighting over. The ability to figure out how they're going to take a quarter of what they earn so that they can have some sort of health care plan. This is all they want. And still, companies are pushing back. I am very proud of all of you here, because you guys have stood with labor here in Orange County. You are the backbone of the working people in Orange County. Because when we go down as organized labor, then the rest goes down. And then it's just a matter of time till we're all working for $8 an hour and no benefits. You are the people who are fighting. They don't even understand that. These other people out there, they don't even get that this is what is going on. But we understand it. I was talking to a couple over here, guys, and they were saying, we're losing our friends in labor. Well, my sister, and you guys know my sister Linda, who's a big warrior and really takes the frontal attack when we're in Washington. And I just work in the background, moving people and, kicking them. And sometimes both of us hold somebody down on the floor, pelting them a little bit to get the vote out of them. We're trying to hold the line to ensure we get prevailing wage, to ensure benefits are still there, and to ensure that they're not taken away from you, and more importantly, working families here in America. So from my heart to yours, I live around the corner. I'm over here at the hall a lot, but I really thank you for getting up early, for coming today on a Saturday, for working hard, for getting organized. You have great leadership back in Washington, D.C., and for fighting for all of us. Fighting for all of us. That is what you do. So, Patrick in particular, thank you for being a friend. Thank you for asking me to come down here. Thank you for inviting me to see all of you. And you all know, from the bottom of my heart, I love you madly. Thank you.